The old Victorian mansion loomed before them, a grim specter against the fading evening sky. Its once grand facade was now crumbling, the once stately windows boarded up, as if the very structure was trying to conceal the horrors that lurked within. Amelia gazed up at the imposing building, a mixture of trepidation and determination etched on her face. This was the moment she had been waiting for, the culmination of months of research and preparation. She had gathered a select group of fellow psychic mediums, all drawn to the mansion's dark history, to attempt a ritual that would hopefully uncover the truth behind the tragic fire that had consumed the house decades earlier. As the others began to arrive, Amelia took a deep breath, steeling herself for the task ahead. Jack, the skeptical paranormal investigator, was the last to join the group, his brow furrowed with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. "Are you sure about this, Amelia?" he asked, his gaze fixed on the ominous structure. "This place gives me the creeps." Amelia offered him a small, reassuring smile. "I know, Jack, but you're here because you need to be. We all do." She turned to the rest of the group, her voice steady and confident. "This is it, everyone. Once we step through those doors, there's no going back." The group fell silent, the weight of her words hanging in the air. One by one, they gathered their belongings and followed Amelia as she approached the mansion's entrance, the old wooden doors creaking open to welcome them inside. The interior was just as dilapidated as the exterior, dust motes dancing in the faint shafts of light that filtered through the boarded windows. The air was thick with the scent of decay and the whispers of the past. Amelia led the way, her footsteps echoing in the vast entry hall. "This is where it happened," she murmured, her gaze sweeping across the space, "the fire that took so many lives." Sarah, the youngest of the group, shivered, her eyes darting nervously around the room. "I can feel it," she whispered, her voice trembling. "The energy here, it's so heavy, so dark. Jack scoffed, unable to suppress his skepticism. "Energy, huh? I'm more interested in the facts. What exactly happened here?" Amelia turned to face him, her expression calm and resolute. "That's what we're here to find out, Jack. The official reports say it was a tragic accident, but—" She paused, her gaze dropping to the floor. "There's more to the story. I can feel it." The group gathered in the center of the hall, the air thick with anticipation and unease. Amelia began to lay out the ritual's preparations, her voice taking on a more authoritative tone. "We'll be conducting a séance, a delicate and dangerous process. We'll need to establish a strong psychic connection, one that will allow us to communicate with the spirits of those who perished in the fire." Jack shifted uncomfortably, his arms crossed over his chest. "And you really think these spirits will just show up and start chatting with us?" Amelia fixed him with a steady gaze. "I believe they want to be heard, Jack. They're trapped, unable to move on. This ritual is our best chance to uncover the truth and bring them the peace they deserve." Sarah nodded in agreement, her eyes shining with a mix of apprehension and determination. "I can sense their presence even now. They're waiting, hoping we'll be able to help them." The others murmured their assent, and Amelia began to guide them through the ritual's preparations. They arranged candles in a sacred circle, the flickering flames casting an eerie glow over the room. Amelia instructed them to join hands, closing their eyes and focusing their energy. As the ritual commenced, the air seemed to grow thick and heavy, the shadows deepening around them. Sarah's grip tightened on Amelia's hand, and a shiver ran down the young medium's spine. "I can feel them," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "They're here, all around us." Amelia took a deep breath, her own senses heightened as she reached out to the spiritual realm. "Speak to us," she murmured, her voice calm and steady. "We're here to listen." The air grew charged with an unseen presence, the candles flickering wildly, as if in the grip of an unseen wind. The mediums held their ground, their focus unwavering, until a faint, ghostly whisper reached their ears. "Help us!" The voice was barely more than a wisp, but it sent a shiver down the spine of every person in the room. Amelia felt a surge of determination, her grip tightening on the hands of her fellow mediums. "We're here," she replied, her voice clear and resolute. "Tell us what happened. We want to help you find peace." The whispers grew stronger, echoing through the hall, and the medium strained to make out the words. Amelia's brow furrowed in concentration, her mind reaching out to the ethereal plane. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the silence, and Sarah's hands wrenched free from the circle, her eyes wide with terror. "No, stop!" she cried, her voice laced with panic. "You don't know what you're doing!" Before anyone could react, a gust of icy wind swept through the room, extinguishing the candles and plunging the mansion into darkness. The mediums cried out in alarm, their hands grasping blindly for one another. Amelia's heart raced as she tried to regain control of the situation. "Sarah, what's wrong?" she called out, her voice tinged with concern. But Sarah's only response was a low, guttural growl that sent a chill down Amelia's spine. In the darkness, the mediums huddled together, their senses on high alert, as they realized that they had unleashed something far more sinister than they had ever anticipated. The eerie silence that followed Sarah's terrified outburst was deafening. Amelia strained to make out any sounds in the pitch-black darkness that had engulfed the mansion's grand entry hall. The flickering candles had been snuffed out, as if by an unseen force, leaving the medium shrouded in an impenetrable veil of shadows. "Sarah," Amelia called out, her voice betraying a hint of trepidation. "Where are you?" No response came, save for the faint rustling of movement in the darkness. Amelia felt a cold chill run down her spine as she reached out, searching for the young medium's hand. But instead of the warmth of Sarah's skin, her fingers encountered only empty air. Beside her, Jack let out a frustrated huff. "All right, who's playing tricks here?" His voice wavered slightly, betraying his own unease. "This isn't funny." Amelia's brow furrowed in concern. "I don't think this is a trick, Jack. Something is very wrong." The air in the room seemed to grow heavier, the oppressive silence pressing in on them like a physical weight. Amelia could sense the other mediums shifting nervously, their ragged breaths echoing through the cavernous space. Suddenly, a low, guttural growl reverberated through the darkness, sending a shiver down the spine of every person present. Amelia's heart pounded in her chest as she recognized the familiarity of the sound. It was Sarah, but the voice was laced with a malevolent energy that was unmistakably inhuman. "Sarah?" Amelia called out again, her voice trembling slightly. "Is that you?" Another guttural snarl was the only response, followed by the sound of heavy footsteps slowly approaching. Amelia felt the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end as a presence seemed to loom closer, its unseen form radiating an aura of pure menace. "Something's not right," Jack murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "We need to get out of here now." Amelia opened her mouth to respond, but the words caught in her throat as a pair of glowing amber eyes materialized in the darkness, fixing the group with a predatory gaze. A chill ran down her spine as she recognized the malevolent entity that had been responsible for the mansion's tragic past, now returned to claim its next victims. "It's here," Amelia breathed, her voice barely audible. "The spirit from the fire. It's awakened." As if in response to her words, the entity let out a bone-chilling roar that reverberated through the hall, the very walls seeming to tremble under the force of its power. The mediums cried out in alarm, their hands grasping blindly for one another as they sought to maintain the protective circle. Amelia felt her heart pounding in her chest as she tried to focus her psychic energy, reaching out to the entity with a mixture of trepidation and determination. "We mean you no harm," she called out, her voice trembling. "We only wish to help the spirits who are trapped here." The entity's response was a deafening snarl, and Amelia felt a wave of icy energy wash over her, a malevolent force that threatened to overwhelm her senses. She struggled to maintain her focus, channeling her psychic abilities to create a protective barrier around the group. Jack, his skepticism now replaced by a primal fear, pressed closer to Amelia. "What the hell is that thing?" he whispered, his voice laced with terror. Amelia shook her head, her brow furrowed in concentration. I don't know, but it's ancient and it's powerful. We have to stop it before it destroys us all." The entity's presence seemed to fill the room, a palpable aura of darkness that threatened to suffocate the mediums. Amelia could feel the other participants trembling, their psychic defenses wavering under the relentless onslaught. Suddenly, a shrill scream pierced the air, and Amelia's heart leapt into her throat as she recognized Sarah's voice. "No, stop!" the young medium cried out, her words punctuated by a series of agonized gasps. "Get out of my head!" Amelia reached out, her fingers grasping at the empty air where Sarah had been standing mere moments ago. "Sarah!" she called out, her voice laced with panic. "Where are you?" The entity's laughter, a haunting guttural sound, echoed through the hall, sending a chill down the spines of the mediums. "The girl is mine now," it growled, its voice a twisted amalgamation of 1,000 tortured souls. "She will be the vessel for my return to the world of the living." Amelia felt a surge of determination rise within her, fueled by her desire to protect her fellow mediums and the trapped spirits they had come to liberate. "I won't let you have her," she declared, her voice strong and unwavering. "This ends here." Channeling her psychic energy, Amelia lashed out at the entity, her mind reaching into the ethereal plane to confront the malevolent spirit head-on. The air crackled with the clash of psychic forces, the mediums gasping in awe and terror as the unseen battle raged around them. Jack, his initial skepticism now replaced by a grudging respect for Amelia's abilities, reached out to lend his support, adding his own psychic energy to the fray. The other mediums, sensing the gravity of the situation, joined in, their combined power creating a formidable barrier against the entity's onslaught. But the entity was relentless, its ancient power fueled by the tormented souls of those who had perished in the mansion's tragic past. Amelia felt her own energy waning, the strain of maintaining the psychic defense taking a heavy toll. She gritted her teeth, her determination fueling her resolve, but she knew that they couldn't hold out forever. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the air, and Amelia's heart sank as she recognized Sarah's voice, now twisted and distorted by the entity's malevolent influence. "You can't stop me," the young medium howled, her words laced with a primal fury. "I will destroy you all." Amelia felt a chill run down her spine as she realized that the entity had succeeded in possessing Sarah, using the young medium's body as a conduit to unleash its wrath upon the group. The medium scrambled desperately, their psychic defenses faltering under the onslaught of the possessed Sarah's attacks. As the battle raged on, Amelia knew that they were running out of time. The entity's power was growing, and if they couldn't find a way to stop it, the mansion's dark history would repeat itself, with the mediums as its next victims. With grim determination, she steeled herself for the fight of their lives, vowing to do whatever it took to protect her friends and put an end to the entity's reign of terror. The mansion shook with the force of Sarah's possessed assault, her movements unnaturally swift and fluid as she lashed out at the mediums. Amelia watched in horror as the young woman's eyes glowed with an unearthly amber light, her once gentle features contorted into a mask of pure malevolence. "Sarah, please," Amelia cried, her voice laced with desperation. "We're trying to help you. Don't let it control you." But Sarah's only response was a guttural snarl as she lunged at Amelia, her fingers curled into wicked claws. Amelia barely managed to erect a psychic barrier in time, the impact of Sarah's attack sending tremors through the aged mansion. Jack, his face etched with a mix of fear and determination, joined Amelia in the defense, his own psychic energy mingling with hers to strengthen the shield. "We need to find a way to subdue her," he growled, his brow furrowed in concentration, "before that thing destroys us all." The other mediums, their faces pale with terror, huddled together, their collective focus straining to maintain the protective circle. Amelia could feel their psychic reserves dwindling, the entity's relentless onslaught wearing them down. "I don't know if we can," Amelia admitted, her voice tinged with despair. "That spirit is ancient, and it's using Sarah as a conduit for its power. We may not be able to stop it without—" She trailed off, the implication hanging in the air. The mediums exchanged anguished glances, none of them willing to voice the unthinkable, that they might have to harm Sarah in order to stop the entity. Suddenly, a deafening crack echoed through the hall as the entity's force shattered Amelia and Jack's psychic shield. The mediums scattered, their cries of alarm mingling with the entity's triumphant laughter. "Fools!" the entity's voice boomed, the sound reverberating through the mansion's very foundations. "You think your pathetic powers can stop me? I'm the master of this place, and I will see it burn to the ground just as I did before." Amelia watched in horror as Sarah's possessed form advanced, her movements fluid and predatory. The young medium's face was a mask of pure malevolence, her eyes glowing with an unholy light. "Sarah, listen to me," Amelia pleaded, her voice trembling. "You have to fight it. This isn't you." but Sarah's only response was a haunting, guttural chuckle. "Sarah is gone," she snarled, her voice layered with the entity's malicious power. "There is only me now." Amelia felt a chill run down her spine as she realized the extent of the entity's control over the young medium. She knew that they were running out of time, and that their only hope of stopping the entity's reign of terror was to somehow reach Sarah's true self, buried beneath the malevolent spirit's influence. Steeling her resolve, Amelia stepped forward, her psychic energy flaring to life. "I won't let you win," she declared, her voice laced with determination. "This ends now." Reaching deep within herself, Amelia unleashed a powerful psychic assault, her mind lashing out at the entity with a fierce intensity. The air crackled with the clash of their psychic energies, the very walls of the mansion trembling under the strain. Jack and the other mediums joined the fray, their combined powers creating a formidable barrier against the entity's onslaught. Amelia could feel their psychic strength flowing into her, bolstering her defenses and lending her the power she needed to confront the ancient spirit. As the battle raged on, Amelia's focus narrowed to a razor-sharp point, her mind probing the depths of the entity's psyche, searching for any weakness or vulnerability she could exploit. She could sense the spirit's ancient malevolence, its hunger for destruction and its relentless desire to reclaim the mansion as its own. But beneath the entity's towering presence, Amelia could faintly detect the faint flicker of Sarah's consciousness, a glimmer of the young medium's true self struggling to break free. With a surge of determination, Amelia poured her energy into that fragile ember, willing it to ignite and consume the entity's hold on Sarah's mind. "Sarah, I know you're in there," Amelia called out, her voice echoing through the psychic maelstrom. "You have to fight it. This isn't who you are." Sarah's possessed form recoiled, a pained cry escaping her lips as the entity's grip began to loosen. Amelia pressed on, her psychic assault intensifying as she sought to sever the bond between the malevolent spirit and its human vessel. "You can do this, Sarah," Amelia urged, her voice tinged with a desperate plea. "This is your mind, your body. Don't let it take you." The mansion shook with the force of the battle, the very air crackling with the clash of psychic energies. Jack and the other mediums held their ground, their combined power feeding Amelia's assault and bolstering her defenses against the entity's relentless onslaught. Slowly, painfully, Amelia could feel Sarah's true self beginning to emerge, the young medium's consciousness clawing its way back to the surface. The entity's grip was weakening, its power waning as it struggled to maintain control over its unwilling host. With a final agonizing scream, Sarah's possessed form collapsed to the ground, the amber glow in her eyes fading as the entity's influence receded. Amelia rushed to her side, her heart pounding with a mixture of relief and trepidation. "Sarah," she called out, her voice tinged with concern. "Can you hear me?" The young medium's eyes fluttered open, her expression dazed and disoriented. "Amelia," she whispered, her voice barely audible. What happened?" Amelia breathed a sigh of relief, her hand gently squeezing Sarah's. "It's all right. You're safe now," she soothed. "The entity, it's gone." But even as the words left her lips, Amelia felt a chill run down her spine. The air in the mansion had grown heavy with an ominous silence. The entity's presence seemingly vanished, but the mediums knew better than to let their guard down. Jack approached, his face etched with a mix of trepidation and awe. Did we actually beat it?" he asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. Amelia shook her head, her expression grim. "I don't know. This spirit is ancient, and it's cunning. I have a feeling it's only biding its time, waiting for the right moment to strike again." The other mediums gathered around, their faces pale with a mixture of relief and unease. They had managed to subdue the entity's hold on Sarah, but they knew that the battle was far from over. The malevolent spirit had been unleashed, and it would not be easily vanquished. Amelia rose to her feet, her gaze sweeping across the group. "We've bought ourselves some time," she said, her voice steady and resolute. "But now we have to find a way to stop this entity for good, before it destroys us all." The mediums exchanged solemn nods, their determination steeled by the gravity of the situation. They had come to this haunted mansion to uncover the truth and bring peace to the restless spirits. But now they found themselves embroiled in a battle for their very lives. As they steeled themselves for the next phase of the confrontation, the air in the mansion seemed to grow thick with a palpable sense of foreboding, hinting at the entity's unwavering resolve to reassert its dominance over the once grand structure and all who dared to challenge its reign of terror.